It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 140. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, August 3rd, 2025. And welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you would like to support the show. So today's show will have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing. The mid section is not mid in quality. I think it's the most important section each week. It's all the video game news and information that you need to know that's happening out there in the video game world. And the third and final section, the miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. And I usually get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what is going on with all my favorite teams. And one of my teams is currently in season, and one of my other teams is about to start. So pretty exciting stuff there on the sports front. But we are here on this Sunday, on this episode 140, to talk about video games first. So what have I been playing since I've last talked to you? And I have something to report out there, something that I haven't reported often on this show, but it happens from time to time, and something I'm certainly proud to report. I've completed a video game. Can you believe it? The crowd goes wild. Whoa, unbelievable. I completed Super Mario RPG, and I completed this a couple days ago. I'm pretty excited to announce that and be able to, proclaim this to the world. So this is the 1996 game for Super Nintendo that's been remade for the Switch in 2023. So the back of the box talk in this game, if you don't know, team up with an oddball group of heroes to save Star Road and stop the troublemaking Smithy gang. This colorful RPG has updated graphics and cinematics that add even more charm to the unexpected alliance between Mario, Bowser, Peach, and the original characters Mallow and Geno. Enter, or revisit, this world of eccentric allies and offbeat enemies in an RPG for everyone. So this was a game I got when it came out and was pretty excited to get into it, but as I often do, I started this and didn't finish it. I don't know if I ever restarted this game. I think I did carry on my save, but there was a point in this game where I got stuck. I don't even think I could find the solution online, or I was just being a dummy and wasn't able to comprehend what the guide was telling me to do. But I remember being stuck at this game for a while. I gave it up for some months, came back to it, started playing it. This game has a few points in it where you think the game is wrapping up and then keeps going. So that's just something to note out there if you're playing this. But overall, I think I like this game. I had a fun time with it. I think this is the first turn-based RPG I've ever completed, so I'm able to add that to my video game arsenal now that I've completed one of these. I don't know if it's going to transition into me playing a whole lot more of turn-based RPGs, but I've definitely tried some, and I think the things I like about this one in particular are just the world of Mario. I like all the characters from Mario. I think Mallow and Geno were cool original characters in this game as well. I think Mallow is kind of like he is the second most important character in this, and Geno is extra cool too. It's fun to have Bowser fight on your side. The party of Mario characters is cool, and I think the main thing I like about the turn-based combat in this game is there is some interactivity with it. So there's some things you can do to improve the hits that you're dishing out, or to defend yourself. You can dampen the blow by pressing A. There's like some timing mechanics in the turn-based battles, and I think that adds a lot to it. So that's something I need to look for in other RPGs that I want to go play in the future, because it might be something I like in particular about them. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door comes to mind. I know a lot of people mentioned Clair Obscura Expedition 33 from this year has some similar mechanics. Final Fantasy VII Remake is another RPG that I've completed, and that one is more passive, kind of interactive combat. You can still issue commands, but you're also fighting in real time in that game. So that one's a little bit more of a hybrid, and I guess more of a modern take on RPGs. But so now I can at least say I've completed a more modern RPG, Japanese turn-based RPG. Well, I guess it's not turn-based, but a JRPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and now I've completed a traditional RPG, Super Mario RPG. So making some progress. Last year was the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, so I tried out some different RPGs. I looked into them some more, and I guess And so far, I've still been trying them out, and I've completed one this year. So I'm pretty excited to say that. This isn't an incredibly long game, so nothing too heroic on my part over here. I think I was in the 15 to 20 hour range on completing this. And I don't think I did like every side thing, so there's probably a little more content in there. It does give you a new game plus mode at the end, which I started and just saved the file just in case I want to play some more in the future. I could definitely see myself wanting to replay this game at some point and maybe trying to see if I could remember how to play through without using the guide. And I think that would be fun. So maybe, I haven't ever really been a big replay video game kind of person because it's a tall enough order for me to complete a game in the first place. But I could see as time goes on, me jumping back into some video games that I've played before and trying to play some more of them. So I've completed Super Mario RPG, pretty happy about it. I think it's going to be in pretty strong contention. I always rank, what's my favorite game from a prior year and the current year. So this will definitely be on that list. And I think Gears of War 4 is the only other one, and maybe Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. I'm going to count on that list as well in contention for that category for the end of the year. But I had a whole lot of fun with this game, and it definitely has me thinking about some more games I want to complete. I definitely have a long list, but nothing I'm really committed to at this point. I'm still out here trying my hand at different video games. So what else have I been playing this week? I've been also playing my Switch 2 still and really enjoying it. I've been getting more into Donkey Kong Bonanza. I really do like this game. I think it's like I don't think it's like lighting my world on fire, but maybe it is lighting it a little more as time goes on. I've been having some more fun with this. I've been progressing the main story more this week, and I think that's been adding to the fun of the game for me. I was doing a lot of backtracking early on. I'm not normally a completionist kind of video gamer, but I was doing some of that because it is fun in this game. But I've been moving on. I've been getting some more abilities. I think that's kind of key in this game too, that you want to push the main story a little bit because you're going to get some cool abilities that will help you go back to the previous levels and kind of have some more fun with them. So I think I'm going to maybe try to mainline the story a little bit more and then kind of go back and see how that goes. So that's my take on Donkey Kong Bonanza right now. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, just got an upgrade to a Bananza ability. I don't really want to mention what that is in case people are still playing that. And I just made it to sub-layer 700 is just where I was. So I had a lot of fun in the sub-layer 600. I like some of the missions there. The platforming was fun to do. And then when you get this new ability, you get to try it out there. So having a lot of fun. And I'm guessing there's going to be some more moments like that to come in this game. And I've heard it gets a little more difficult as it goes. I think that's kind of a complaint. I don't know if that's a complaint, but the design of the game is more exploratory with some difficulty stuff mixed in, and maybe some more difficult challenges kind of boost up later in the game. But I don't know if that's what it's going for. So the boss battles have been pretty easy, the enemies have been pretty easy, and the fun from the game is just controlling Donkey Kong and going around the world and smashing things. And I'm getting some enjoyment from some of the platforming sections, and this new ability I unlocked adds to that, and I guess that's just going to keep growing over the game. So I do think my liking for this game is growing, and I will keep you updated here on the show each week as I'm playing it. So I've been having a lot of fun with this. I still don't think it's taken my favorite game of the year spot yet. I think that game still is going to Mario Kart World, and I've been playing more of this game this week too. So I've been mainly I've only been doing the open world stuff in this game this week and having fun with that. I've been trying some new characters I haven't played. I've been unlocking costumes. I've been trying to get some P-switches, and actually I was failing at a lot of P-switches yesterday. So I think a lot of the challenges with the P-switches are generally pretty easy, but it does seem like there's ones with some difficulty. I don't know if I should really call them difficulty, but a little bit of trickiness to them where you have to start over a few times. Maybe you're not immediately recognizing what to do, and I'm talking about myself here for sure, but I've been having fun with the open world stuff, and that's kind of been the main thing where I've been playing this week. I've also been playing back in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, doing the Grand Prix over there, trying to complete some 150cc races. I've been having some success with that. I think I've only failed, maybe like one time and had to redo one, but I've been making some progress there, checking those off. So I've been on a great Mario kick, and I still think that Mario Kart World is tracking for my favorite game of the year. I can definitely see Bonanza getting closer to it for me, but Mario Kart World I've been having a whole lot of fun with. I'm going to continue playing it. I only have a fraction of the open world stuff done. I really like the online races. Has been my favorite portion of that game. So that's something that I can play, I guess, endlessly. Or it's kind of in the Splatoon 3 category for me now, where I can pick that up if I want to play some online matches, and I'm going to have a whole lot of fun with it. So it's really nice to have two games in that vein going right now, where if I want to play some online games, I know I have 2 of them that I'll be excited to play any moment or any day of the week kind of thing. So Mario Kart World has been a whole lot of fun. I haven't had really a main character going right now. I've really been jumping between the characters. I don't think I've climbed onto any new characters I really like too much. I actually have not liked some of the characters because I guess Bowser, he just appears slower. King Boo, he appears slower to me too. I've been trying out some of the baby characters, not some of my favorites, but I've been having some fun. I was having some fun playing just some standard Mario. So Mario Kart World is an extremely fun game, especially if you like Mario Kart. It is a great one of those. So what else? Those have been the main things I've been playing this week. I'm always kind of trying some other games or playing some other things in there, but those are the things mostly I've been making some progress on. So completed Super Mario RPG. Been playing a good bit more of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and still playing some Mario Kart World and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So this has been the year of no direction on this show. I haven't really had a focus or anything I've been looking towards, or any type of genre I've been trying to play. But the only direction I have is I want to complete The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm saying that each week until it's happened. I haven't made any progress in a while. I'm right at the beginning of the 4th Divine Beast. I have to do the battle with the Divine Beast to subdue him, so I can go in and start doing the dungeon. But I'm right at the area where you begin the battle to go at the 4th Divine Beast, and that's where I've been stuck at now for a couple weeks. Or not stuck, but I haven't really picked up I haven't picked up the controller to play it for a couple weeks now, but that's where I'm at, and I am going to complete that game one day, that is for sure. And my other top game at the moment is Donkey Kong Bonanza. I don't think I have another game on the horizon, really. I was trying to think of that the other day for the rest of the year. I don't think there's anything else that's a must-buy for me for the rest of the year, and I really could be forgetting something, but I don't think there is. So other games I'm definitely interested in. I'm interested in tons of releases, but for games that I'm going to pick up and want to play on day one, I don't know if there's any of those announced right now for the end of the year. So it's looking like a lot of backlog for me, and that is fine because I have a lot of great games to play and some great games to complete, hopefully will be the case. So, just once again, I completed a video game this week. I want to point that out because it doesn't happen often, and hopefully I will be completing some more video games in the near future. So that's everything I've been playing. Those are all my video game thoughts from this week, I think. Yeah, I've been enjoying the Switch too. I've been playing handheld, and still been playing my Switch One still some too. And we have some more Switch stuff to talk in the midsection, so we're going to get to it. So this is going to wrap up the first section of the show. That's everything I've been playing. We're going to come back after this music for the midsection, which is where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. We had a Nintendo, I almost said that. All right, I did say that incorrectly, but we had a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase that took place this last week. So we're going to definitely talk about that, talk about some other Nintendo stuff, and then talk about some other releases and news going on around the video game world after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 140. This is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So I did mention there was a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, and I'm going to talk all about that in just a bit, but there was also some other Nintendo news they snuck in after this partner showcase, and this is a pricing update for Switch One. So I want to mention this first because this is pretty baffling to me, and I thought it would be good to start off this section with this news to set the stage for what's going on out here. So Nintendo Switch, and not talking Switch 2, we're talking Nintendo Switch, which released in 2017, is having a pricing update. And you would think, hey, this is going to be a great time to get one. They're going to reduce the price. It's been out for 8 years. The Switch 2's out. It's been selling like crazy. It's been breaking all those records. But no. The price is going to increase. So you're going to have the pleasure of paying more of your hard-earned money to get a Switch One if you want one. So the pricing for the original Nintendo Switch family of systems and products will change in the United States based on market conditions. So that's as specific as they're going to get. They're going to say market conditions, effective August 3rd, 2025. So that is actually today, if you're listening in real time. I think Target has already updated theirs, and once this news got broken, I guess that's how you would say it. And I just checked Best Buy this morning. I don't think their prices have been updated yet. So if you still want to grab one of these, go look at Best Buy right now. I don't think you can do so on Target. I don't know about the other retailers, but this is supposed to go into effect today, is the word from Nintendo. So these include this price increase for the Nintendo Switch includes Nintendo Switch OLED model, the Nintendo Switch base model, and Nintendo Switch Lite, and select Nintendo Switch accessories. So other Nintendo products, including certain Nintendo Switch 2 accessories, select amiibo, and Nintendo Sound Clock
Alarmo will also see adjustments, Pricing for the Nintendo Switch 2 systems, physical and digital Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 games, as well as Nintendo Switch Online memberships will remain unchanged at this time. However, please note that price adjustments may be necessary in the future, and I'm sure they're going to be completely necessary. There's going to be no way around it. The price is going to have to be increased at some point for Nintendo, because they are only selling, 5 million copies in 24 days or whatever, or 5 million consoles in 24 days. So pretty ridiculous would be my opinion on this. So it looks like the Switch Lite price has been increased $30 from $200 to $230. The Switch base model goes from $300 to $340 US dollars, and the Switch OLED is going from $350 to $400 US dollars. So pretty perplexing, pretty mind-boggling. I really can't understand it besides just a company wanting to get some more money. Seems pretty ridiculous to me. I don't think they are on hard times having to raise their prices, and it's just ridiculous. We used to get price decreases back in the day for consoles, and having price increases is just a wild turn of events. So I don't know what I think about this. I think maybe the lesson here is to, really, and this is something, I should probably practice more myself even, but you can wait to upgrade on these consoles nowadays. It's becoming more and more like phone upgrades with these consoles, and it's, I'm not happy about it, but that's just the way it is. And I'm not an early adopter of the new phone ever. I don't think I ever have been. So that's seeming like the way I need to go with these consoles for me to not have any complaints. I think you could still be playing one of the older generation consoles right now and having a whole lot of fun with it. And the way they're putting out their pricing is going to be forcing more gamers probably to even think this way or want to act this way. So just ridiculous to see a price increase. I really can't explain it or give them any reason or any way to spin it. I mean, all they really give us is market conditions, so whatever. So they're increasing the price on the Switch One. Pretty wild. The Xbox just did this. And the Xbox One, my opinion on that would be they are trying to get out of the console business a little bit. So, but you would think they'd want to be selling their stock. So you think lowering the price, they want to sell the stock. Xbox is raising the price. I just don't know. I don't think that console's been selling well. So that one's perplexing of why they want to raise the price. It just makes me think that they're trying to wash their hands of it in some way. And then the Switch here, you have the new Switch 2 out. So people should, if you're going to pay $400 for a Switch OLED, go try to buy a Switch 2. It's just crazy. So I'm trying to even think about that. And Switch 2s are available right now. If you're listening to this, you can find them in person and online, pretty readily available at this point. So that's nice. So it doesn't make sense here. You think they would want to get rid of the stock instead of increasing the price on it? They're trying to get people to want to buy the Switch 2. Could be the move here, like the business strategy I'm not getting from Nintendo. Putting the price within $50 of the brand new thing. You should definitely pick the new one because it can play all the Switch 1 games already. So I don't get it. Why would they want to have higher priced stocks sitting on shelves? And I think it just comes down, which is really just kind of the saddest part about this. But I mean, shouldn't be too shocking to myself or anyone. They just want to make some more money. So I don't know. Should be definitely more conscientious or everyone kind of has to be these days with the price of things out there in the world. But these things are pretty ridiculous and definitely not building up any goodwill with the consumers, or definitely people that out there in the world who don't pay attention to video game news are going to hear this kind of stuff and just kind of think it's crazy and not really think too much of it. And it's probably going to stick in their minds that even more so that these consoles are going up. And I know a lot of people that think the Switch 2 is too expensive, and this is just really wild news. So I don't understand it. If I think it just comes down to, everyone's favorite saying, follow the money. And I think this is a follow the money situation here. And it's like a foot on the neck kind of follow the money here. It's like we can do it, so we're doing it. And that's the kind of grossest part about this one, especially for a company that's breaking all sorts of sales records with their brand new console that's been released. All right, so that's the opening news for this week. So pretty ridiculous. And we're going to get into the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase now. So this took place last week before this pricing news, and this took place on July 23rd. I think that day is wrong because that's too long ago. But it took place last week. It was 9 a.m. Let me look that up while I'm here on the show right now. That's pretty silly. Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Yeah, it was just 2 days ago. It took place on July 31st, so a couple days ago. And their spiel on this was tune in roughly for 25 minutes of information on the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch games from our publishing partners. So there were definitely a lot of games in here. There were more games that I'm going to talk about, so please go watch these. I always encourage people to watch these for themselves because everyone kind of has different tastes. I'm talking about the things I think are most interesting, or just the biggest releases, or the biggest things catching my attention. But go watch these things. They're pretty fun to watch. A lot of outlets will do talkovers like Giant Bomb or Min-Max, or some good ones to go watch. So just some options out there in the world. But I want to talk about all my favorite things. And the one thing I wanted before the show, since this was being presented as a partner showcase, so you're thinking, hey, we're going to get some more third-party stuff. A lot of the rumors in the week leading up to this, in the couple weeks, was, hey, we're going to get a lot of third-party announcements. And that had my brain going to the game that I want on Switch 2 the most from a third-party perspective, a game that's not on Switch 2 already, something I like to play in handheld form, and that is Persona 3 Reload. And guess what? It was announced. I was hoping it would be more of like, hey, this is going to be available today, this is going to be available next week, but Persona 3 Reload is coming to Switch 2 on October 23rd, 2025, so making me wait a couple months for $59.99 US. So this is the game developed by Atlus and published by Sega. This remake came out in 2023. So the back of the box talk on Persona 3 in general: a step into the shoes of a hidden transfer student thrust into an unexpected fate when entering the hour hidden between one day and the next. Awaken an incredible power and chase the mysteries of the dark hour, fight for your friends, and leave a mark on their memories forever. So this game originally released for PlayStation 2 in 2006. I guess it was a year or two later, depending on if you were in Japan or North America, that Persona 3 FES released, which is an extended version featuring a new playable epilogue and other changes. And then after that, Persona 3 Portable came, which was an abridged PlayStation Portable version released in 2011 and ported to the Switch, PS4, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S in 2023. And then the most recent update to Persona 3 is the Persona 3 Reload, which was a remake of the core game released in February of 2024. And everyone says, if you aren't familiar with the franchise, this is the best version to play. So I have started this game twice now. I've started on Xbox when it first released because it was on Game Pass. And then I bought this game on PlayStation 5. And I have officially passed the point of where I got on Xbox. And now it looks like I'm going to have to start this game again on the Switch too. And I definitely don't have to, but this would be the perfect game for me to play handheld. The turn-based combat, I think, lends itself really well to the handheld. And I'm really just into playing my games on the Switch 2 right now. So having all the games I want to play on one console is ideal. And I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to this releasing. I wish it was sooner. And I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game. But it just puts me in a conundrum of, do I quit making progress on my PlayStation file? I don't know. I think I'm going to be too tempted to want to play this game. I've been thinking of picking up PlayStation, the portable version possibly, and starting that on the Nintendo so I can make some progress there. That game is normally $20. I think it goes on sale for $10 a lot of times. So I don't know. I'm just going to end up playing some more Persona 3, which I guess is not bad because I am really into this game right now. And I'm going to be super excited to pick this up on the Switch 2 when it releases on October 23rd, 2025. So that was my favorite announcement from this show, I believe, or it definitely was, because it was the one thing I've been wanting from a third party on the third party front, and I'm going to get it in October. So pretty excited about that. It is a game key card, so the full game's not on the cartridge, but at least it's not a code in the box. I think that's where I'm going to draw the line for myself. I'm not picking up any code in a box. I mean, never say never, but I think that's where my line is drawn at this point. I like having the game key card is okay because it gives you a physical thing you can trade in if you want to, and that is a nice part of owning physical to me. So even if the game is not fully on there, but that would be ideal, it's still something I can trade in and get some value if I just end up wanting to or whatever. So Persona 3 Reload, that was my favorite announcement from the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, but there was a lot of other, not a lot, but there was a few other cool things I definitely want to talk about. I think this showcase was pretty underwhelming in general, and that is kind of my thoughts. I think this was better than the Pokemon Presents that we had the week prior, but this was definitely a little bit of a letdown for me, even going into it knowing it's going to be third-party stuff. I don't know. But some of the new stuff that was announced, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twist of Reflection has been announced. This is coming in 2026, no official date or window. This will be coming for Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. The back-of-the-box talk on Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twist of Reflection is embark on a new adventure in the third installment of the turn-based RPG series set in the world of Monster Hunter. Become a rider in the Monster Hunter Stories series as you hatch and build kinship with friendly monsters known as monsties, then explore and battle alongside them in a world full of potential. So the first Monster Hunter stories originally released in 2017 on Nintendo 3DS, and that was North America. And then Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, came out in 2021 for Switch and Windows. So I'm someone who I've tried Monster Hunter, the mainline series, a couple times and never got completely hooked. There are a lot of things I like about it. And as someone who's been getting into more RPGs recently, this would maybe be the thing I need to try to get into Monster Hunter more. So maybe I would try to go back and play the original Monster Hunter stories if possible. But I don't imagine this is going to be a full price game. I'm not sure, but definitely something I'm interested in. This caught my attention only for the fact that, I've been trying to get into Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Wilds came out this year, and I do want to go back and play some more of that, but I've just never gotten hooked yet. I've tried Monster Hunter Rise, I think was the other one. I think that's the only other one I've tried. I think I've wanted to try World before, but I never have. That game is extremely inexpensive these days, so maybe pick up a copy. But I do have Wild, so I should probably try to jump back into that at some point, especially for thinking about, if that's one of the games I want to talk about at the end of the year that I enjoyed. So Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, announced and coming in 2026. Another game, this one I'm actually pretty excited about, is Once Upon a Katamari got announced. This is going to release on October 24th, 2025, so the day after Persona 3 Reload, so that is definitely some negative timing on me wanting to purchase it. But this is coming out for Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. This game will be $39.99 US dollars. There's going to be a Switch 1 version. I don't know if there's going to be an official Switch 2 version, but the developer of this game is Ren Game. Once Upon a Katamari in general is a franchise I've dabbled with in the past and really enjoyed my time with it. I've never really spent too much time with it, so this could be a great entry to do. My thoughts on this would be, this is something you can pick up on day one, or you can pick this one probably up 5 years down the road and probably enjoy it. So I think they make pretty classic, kind of timeless games that you can pick up anytime, and I think, as long as they stick to the normal Katamari pedigree, this is going to be a good entry in the franchise. So Once Upon a Katamari, keep the good times rolling with the first new entry in the Katamari Damacy series in 14 years. So that's extremely cool. It's not a remake, it's a brand new entry. In this puzzle action adventure game, the king of all cosmos was fiddling with the scroll and accidentally destroys the earth and the stars. The prince must roll their Katamari across time itself, collecting objects through stages in the Jurassic period, the Ice Age, historic Japan, and more to rebuild the glittering night sky. So they are talking about new stages, new music, never before seen items like the magnet provide an exhilarating new experience, plus play as the prince or 68 other cousins, or use the new customization system to create your own unique character to stand out in the online multiplayer Katamari Ball mode. So now onward through new worlds to roll up thy heart's desire and to restore the stars. That's what they say at the end. Now onward through new worlds to roll. Now let's see. We could maybe work this. Now onward through new worlds to roll up thy heart's desire and to restore the stars. Play Once Upon a Katamari on October 24th, 2025. So definitely cool. This one's going multi-platform, like I'm saying. So I think a lot of people will be enjoying this. I think Katamari is a cool thing to introduce to new gamers, and older gamers like myself will have some reverence for this game too and want to maybe, give it a shot or get back into it if you played it in the past. So Once Upon a Katamari, pretty cool announcement. All right, what else was announced in this Nintendo Direct that I want to tell you about? This is a third-party game. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming to Nintendo Switch, and I believe it's coming to Switch 1 and 2. Maybe don't quote me on that, but when I was looking on, I think it was Best Buy's website, I was surprised to see an actual Switch 1 version of this, because I was assuming this was a Switch 2, because this seems like it would be too crazy to be running on a Switch 1, but who knows? But this game's going to be $59.99, so $60 US dollars, and releasing on November 14th, 2025 for Switch 2. This takes the legendary gameplay of the Budokai Tenkaichi series and raises it to whole new levels. Become a super warrior and experience the earth-shaking, limit-breaking power of Dragon Ball battles. Unleash the strength of over 180 fighters from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, and select Dragon Ball movies, all in the base game. So this game initially released last year in October of 2024. This was something I really wanted to buy, and I just never did, just for playing other games or whatever it may be. So I would like to possibly pick this up on the Switch 2 at some point. I'm sure it'll go on sale sometime after release, so I can probably wait till then. But this has been a game I've been really wanting to play, so this is just going to benefit me as someone who hasn't picked it up yet, that I'm going to be able to play it on the Switch 2. I had a whole lot of fun with, there's one of the Budokai games from PlayStation 2 that's my favorite. I think it's maybe the second one, but I am not all the way sure. But that's the one I played the most of in my lifetime, and I guess the only one I played a ton of. So it would be fun to get back into that. I remember that being a pretty relaxing game, a pretty fun game to kind of replay with the different characters, and that could be something I'd want to get to in the future. And being able to play in handheld would be really cool, as always is the benefit with playing things on the Switch. So I'm assuming that game's going to run okay, maybe just because of its cartoon style or anime style, but the game does have a lot going on the screen at once, so I just kind of wonder what some of the concessions will be with how it's going to run, and hopefully it won't be too crazy. Street Fighter 6 runs pretty immaculately on the Switch too, so there is some good comparisons to be made to be hopeful for this running well. So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero coming November 14th, 2025 for Switch. Alright, this one is a remake, but it's a pretty cool remake of a game I have a lot of fondness from back in the day, and that's Plants vs. Zombies, and this one's called Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. So this game will be $19.99 US, and it's releasing on October 23rd, 2025, so the same day as Persona 3 Reload for the Switch too. So bad news for you, Plants vs. Zombies. You will not be the belle of the ball to me. This game is going to release multi-platform everywhere as well. The classic Plant vs. Zombies returns in glorious HD. Dang. After years in Crazy Dave's attic, the original battle between Plants and Zombies is back, bigger, brighter, and crazier than ever. Experience the game that started it all, now remastered with upscaled HD graphics and packed with new secrets to uncover. So this game is really, really fun. It has a really good basic loop to it, and this was a game I got. I remember playing this on the iPad when I first kind of got an iPad way back in the day, back in the 2010s, whenever that may have been, is what I think is off the top of my memory, and played a whole lot of this on there and had a lot of fun with it. And I just don't know if this would hold up for me wanting to play this in the present. I think $20 is a great price for this game, and maybe it would even go on sale, would be the time I would pick it up. But I have a lot of nostalgia for Plants vs. Zombies at this point, and I think it's cool that it's getting a re-release, because I think a lot of people have wanted this, and it's pretty surprising they haven't done this yet, because this seems like a great game to play on the Switch. Alright, so what else was announced in this Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase? They announced Pac-Man Reworld 2 Re-Pac, which is a remake of Pac-Man World 2 from 2002. So this new version, the Re-Pac version, is going to be $29.99 US and going to release on September 26, 2025. It's going multi-platform, so PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and Steam. Pac World 2 has been modernized, enhanced, and upgraded. The fan favorite returns. So I think a lot of people hold this game in high regard. This originally released in 2002 for Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 2, so what a great era. The ghost snuck into Pac Village and stole the golden fruit unwittingly, freeing the all-powerful Ghost King Spooky. Pac-Man must venture across Pac-Land to reclaim the golden fruit and put a stop to the dastardly Spooky. So I've never really seen Pac-Man in a 3D form, and I thought this was new when I was first seeing it, but this is definitely not new, and I think it's going to be, this is something that I really didn't know about, and I would be interested in playing. So just a pretty cool re-release, and I think this game does have kind of like a cult-like following, so nice they're getting a remastered version and maybe open people's eyes to some Pac-Man out there. I think they have that new one coming out that is the really wild take on Pac-Man. I think it's called Shadow Labyrinth. I could be really mixing that up in my mind, but there is that new game that's coming out that's a Pac-Man game that you would never, that the title doesn't really have Pac-Man in it, and if you first looked at it, you wouldn't assume it's Pac-Man, but pretty cool. So maybe this is just going back in the Pac-Man vault to get it back on people's brains before trying to really sell people on that new experience coming out whenever it is. So Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac has been announced and will release in September of this year. Another game that I think that's been announced already, but we got a gameplay trailer, is Hyrule Warriors: The Age of Imprisonment. There's no release date has been shown, but it says winter of this year. Experience the epic battles of the imprisoning war firsthand. So I played the first Hyrule Warriors in this series. I think it was called Calamity something. I had fun with that. I played maybe 15 hours and then kind of fell off of it. It's cool to see the Zelda characters in another game style, and I think that's kind of the draw here as well. This one has a lot of the Breath of the Wild kind of Tears of the Kingdom style in it, which I think is especially cool. So this one could be tempting for me to pick up at some point and give it a shot, but just not something that I would be signing up for day one. But I think this definitely looks cool. I think it's cool to see Zelda and Link outside of their normal thing, and especially if it's done well, and it seems like they kind of do these well for what these games are. All right, the last two announcements I want to talk about from the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase were the last two things announced. And a lot of people, including myself, were noticing the similarities between these two games, and that was a little bit disappointing to close the show out, but I guess they're trying to put a focus on this type of genre. And the last two games they talked about, well, the last one I believe was The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. So this is developed by Team Asano, which is the developer behind Bravely Default, which I've been playing some of that Bravely Default this week. That's one thing I didn't mention. I've been having some fun with that. I think the job system's cool. I don't know if I particularly like the art style, but the combat's fun. There's no timing mechanics to the turn-based combat, but I've been enjoying the combat in general. And I've been enjoying the writing in it. It's a little bit of a story setup. Kind of I guess some of the open world art style is cool, but it's been kind of growing on me. But I've been trying that this week just as a side note. But this is the same developer who's made Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler series, Triangle Strategy, and more. So those are all kind of at least like really beautiful looking games, and some, especially Octopath and Triangle. But The Adventures of Elliot, this is a brand new game. The Millennium Tales is an action RPG set in the world of Philabildia. So I think that's a pretty terrible name, Philabildia. But I guess it's nice to have something unique that you're going to grow to like. I think Metaphor Refantasio did a great job of that last year, but this was a pretty silly name when you first saw it. And I thought this was going to be the name of the game and was really going to be perplexed by that. And a lot of people online were making jokes and saying this game in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground, is where I spent most of my days. But they're saying this is a beautiful but savage land dominated by warring beast tribes. Humanity's last bastion is the kingdom of Huther, protected by its tall walls, and Princess Huria's powerful magic. I could be getting a lot of these names wrong. When a mysterious set of ruins is discovered, a young adventurer named Elliot and his fairy companion Faye are set off on a journey to investigate. What seems like a simple if dangerous mission soon becomes a grand saga that will be woven across time and space. As Elliot, you'll explore an expansive world from grassy plains to dank caves and mysterious ruins. Hordes of enemies roam these lands, but unfortunately Elliot is well equipped to deal with them. He can wield 7 types of weapons, from swords for close quarter combat, bows for ranged attacks, and even chains and sickles that can pull enemies towards him. So I guess that would be the differentiating factor there, would be some of the combat stuff in here, because everything else seems everything about this game seems fine, but I don't know what completely makes this one unique. I think the title of this game is pretty silly. I think it's supposed to be kind of calling back to the NES days, but I just think it's kind of a silly title. It's very long. And even in the description, grassy plains, dank caves, and mysterious ruins, you can kind of check that off in mostly all RPGs. Not saying that makes all of them bad, but there are a lot of similarities to these games. And even talking about 2 of these games right at the end of the show, you can kind of look back and forth between them, and you think they both look cool, but you might not be able to distinguish the difference between them. And I'm talking about myself here, and I think probably some people out there in the world. But there are a lot of these games now that are coming out. We've had the Dragon Ages being remade in the HD 2D. We talked about Octopath Traveler. There's 1 and 2. Triangle Strategy. Live Alive has a remake. Sea of Stars is kind of one of these. So, there's plenty of these games out there. And as someone who's a little bit new, I just mentioned that I've completed my first turn-based RPG, Super Mario RPG, this week. So I am kind of new to this genre, so that is definitely a reason I'm not able to differentiate some of these things. But I am seeing a lot of samey stuff here, from my opinion, as someone who's not, completely well versed in these games. But this one has some cool stuff to it. There's a demo available for it right now. This is coming to Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam and Microsoft Store in 2026. No price shown at the moment, and no other release window kind of announcement besides 2026. But definitely cool. I guess Team Asano, pretty big deal that this is a new game. I think it's cool that they're making a new IP, a new entry. And even if I am saying some of the stuff looks samey, it's nice that they are trying something new, a new series, and definitely some interest in this at least. All right, and the last game I want to talk about from the partner showcase from Nintendo was Octopath Traveler 0. So this was announced. This is a start from zero and a tale of restoration and retribution. So all the definitive elements of the Octopath Traveler series return in this exciting prequel set in the realms of Orstera. Embark on a brand new adventure of your own creation in this stunning HD 2D RPG. This will also be available on Switch 1, PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Windows, and Steam. Releases on December 4th, 2025. The standard edition is $49.99 US according to the Square Enix store. And I would like to play Octopath Traveler at some point. I don't know, I guess maybe this would be the one to start with since it's a prequel. This won't be a day one purchase for me, but if I go down the rabbit hole of enjoying turn-based RPGs a lot, this could be something this is something that's caught my eye, and I would maybe go to in the future. But I know a lot of people do love the Octopath Traveler series, so this has got to be a really cool announcement for them, and something that has a release date, which is nice. And So those were the last two announcements from the show. So pretty similar-ish games if you're not completely immersed in these style of turn-based RPGs all the time. But so an interesting way to close it out. And overall, I think a pretty disappointing Nintendo partner showcase, for my opinion. Besides getting Persona 3 Reload, which I don't know how many people are excited for that outside of me, besides people who have never played Persona 3. But as someone, ever since Persona 3 Reload got released, I was wanting to play this on the Switch, and I've been going back and forth between wanting to purchase the portable version or what to do. So now I'm going to have the option of playing the most recent version of Persona 3 on the Switch too, and I'm excited about that. So that's everything for the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase I want to talk about, but there were other things shown. It was about 25 minutes in length for that video, so please go check that out if you'd like to see all the announcements from that show. There's probably something else in there that you think is cool that I haven't mentioned. All right, so what else is going on around the video game world? This is another game that I think a lot of people are excited about, but just something I have no experience with, and that game is Mario Paint. This game has been released now for Nintendo Switch Online under the Nintendo Classic, so grab your favorite smock and palette because the Mario Paint game is now available to play with a Nintendo Switch Online membership. Connect a compatible USB mouse sold separately to play the game on your Nintendo Switch 1 system even. If you're playing on the Switch 2, you can use the Joy-Con 2 controller like a mouse and let your imagination run wild. So this is the classic title that was originally released for SNES, Super Nintendo in 1992. You can use simple mouse controls to draw pictures with all sorts of colors and drawing tools. You can even create animated sequences and write music to add to your collage. Bring your very own video creations to life by combining animation and music with the art you've made. So I don't know if I have any frame of reference for this game. I think maybe, I don't know if they would have rented this at Blockbuster back in the day, but I don't remember ever wanting this. I don't remember any friends having this, but it definitely looks cool. I think it seems ahead of its time for some of the stuff it's doing. People were probably a lot more enamored by this back in the day, and it seemed like the nostalgia wave of people wanting to play this again was really, really, really hitting hard. And I could see younger people liking this too because of the simple kind of like creative aspects to it. So a pretty cool addition to Nintendo Switch Online, which I think is a pretty great service. I think it's still $20 for the base version for a year. I think it's 50 or 60 to get the base version plus expansion pack where you can get access to all the different back catalogs. But I think it's a really good value for the retro games on there. And Mario Paint is available right now if you want to go play it. All right, what else? I got some more Nintendo stuff to talk about. Dragon Drive, their upcoming game for Switch 2, which is like the wheelchair basketball looking game, is going to release on August 14th, 2025. I don't know if that was the news here, but just putting this out there in the world as a reminder. The latest in 3-on-3 sports is on the way coming to Nintendo Switch 2. This game is $19.99 US dollars, so that sounds like a pretty appropriate price. Not speaking on the quality, but just to get people interested in this, because I think that's kind of a tough task. Hold on each Joy-Con 2 controller like a mouse for tight control of both your wheels as you speed around the court. Raise your hand and flick your wrist to shoot and score. Team up with or take on friends and other players from near or and far online in fast-paced 3-on-3 matches. So I think a lot of people, including myself, have been like, I don't know who's going to want to play this, but if somehow the motion controls are fun and it's simple enough and has good online connectivity, maybe people are going to want to play this. I expect kind of more people to be dunking on this game after release. Not something I can see myself trying. I still don't think I've even tried using the Joy-Con as a mouse in any form or facet. So I've never really been a PC gamer, and I don't have really any intention of doing it on my Switch. I just think it's a cool function or option, but I just never even used it. So I haven't even been interested enough to try it. There's really no way I want to try this Dragon Drive game. I kind of want to leave all the motion stuff behind. I like a little bit of the motion stuff with Splatoon and I guess some of the controls in Zelda, but that's really been about it. And just want to point out this game is coming out in just a couple weeks. All right, another game, just since we're in August now, another game coming out at the end of the month for August is a re-release. And I got to point out some of these Nintendo Switch 2 titles of games are pretty ridiculous. So I think this, I'm going to have to type this in my show notes. And this is the official title for this. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Starcross World Upgrade Pack. It's going to release on August 28th, 2025. The original release for this game is March 2022. So I was really shocked by that. This was a game I really, really liked. This is a game I completed, which is pretty amazing. And I definitely recommend. This is an extremely fun platformer. The first Kirby game I've ever completed. And maybe one of the first Kirby games I've ever really played. So I think you can go buy the Switch 1 version of this game and have fun. And now it's going to have an upgraded Switch 2 version, which I think is cool. I think it's very expensive. like all this stuff is, but it's a good game. So the Switch 2 version of Kirby and the Forgotten Land is going to be $79.99 US dollars. That's everything included. But you can also buy an upgrade pack from your Switch 1 version for $19.99 US dollars. The Switch 2 features in this game that they are saying are important and enhance your adventure by changing your version of the game to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition with the upgrade pack. Well, yeah, that's what you're doing. Join Kirby in an upgraded 3D platforming adventure and uncover the mystery of the meteor only on Nintendo Switch 2. Explore a mysterious world with remnants of a past civilization, all with enhanced resolution and frame rates. Use Kirby's amazing abilities, including some all-new mouthful modes, to clear a trail through uncharted territory in a brand new story. So, just want to point this out. If you never played this, I would say this is a great game if you're looking for something to play. And Kirby, and I'm definitely more interested in Kirby after playing this. And I just think it's a really great game. So just pointing out that that's coming out for Switch 2 at the end of the month. All right, so this game actually came out on the Switch as well, but this one's a multi-platform release, and I want to put this out there in case you were interested. That's Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is available right now. This released on July 31st. It is a brand new side-scrolling entry to the Ninja Gaiden series from the team behind Blasphemous. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound redefines the classic platformer saga in a spectacular, thrilling, and challenging ninja adventure. The developer is the Game Kitchen, and the publisher is Dotemu. If that's how you say it, hopefully Dotemu and Joystick. This game is $24.99 US dollars and available on the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and Microsoft Windows. So anywhere, I've been seeing a lot of people playing this. It definitely looks cool. I don't think I can really just add another one of these side-scroller games into my rotation right now. I have like other ones I want to play first, but I think this definitely looks cool. I think it's cool. Ninja Gaiden's having a resurgence. I think the one that I played the most was on Xbox 360. I guess it's Ninja Gaiden 2, I believe it was. And they're really cool games. So this could be something I see myself playing in the future. And if you are a big Ninja Gaiden fan or just someone who's looking for one of these games right now, and one of these games of a particular style, I think this one seems like a great option. So Ninja Gaiden Ragebound available right now. All right, just a couple more things to talk about. Elden Ring Nightreign, just want to point out this isn't a game I've tried or really have too much interest in, but I do like base Elden Ring. And Elden Ring Nightreign, now patch 1.02 is available. This adds duos mode to the game. So I just thought the developer's answer to why was this not released at launch was interesting. He said the simple answer, or it might have been a her, not sure. The simple answer is that this is simply something that was overlooked during development as just a two-player option. So we're very sorry about that. As we said before, we set out to make this a multiplayer co-op game for 3 players, balanced for 3 players. So that was the main focus, and it's the core of Nightreign. So I guess my opinion would be like, how did they not think of this? But they had a specific vision, and I guess no one really thought of people. Hey, are people going to ask for only 2 players? But I think it's nice they added this into the game. I guess they probably had to do some tweaking to the balancing, maybe if you're playing in 2-player mode. But this was something a lot of people were clamoring for once the game got released, and you can go access that right now in Elden Ring Nightreign if you'd like to. So this patch is available across PC via Steam, PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One. And if you don't know what Elden Ring Nightreign is, it's a standalone adventure within the Elden Ring universe, crafted to offer players a new gaming experience by reimagining the game's core design. I don't think it's a full price game. I think it's $39.99 US dollars, but don't quote me on that. So if you are interested in this, if you're a multiplayer gamer who likes Elden Ring, this could be up your alley. All right, what else to talk about? Just a few kind of quick notes. Hollow Knight Silksong. This is a game. This is one of the most anticipated games out there in the ether. People are really excited for this. I'm someone who's still playing Hollow Knight and growing to like that more and more over time. So I would like to play more of that before I would jump into Silksong. But I am definitely interested in the lore around this, the story, the hype, and the hype is huge. So Hollow Knight Silksong, the news here, and there's going to be a playable demo shown at Gamescom. So people are going to be able to play this. We're going to get some footage. Gamescom is taking place in Cologne, Germany from August 20th to 24th. So August 20th to August 24th. So just a couple weeks away. So we'll be getting some more information on Hollow Knight Silksong. This will be shown on hand on PC and the ROG Xbox Ally X Microsoft has announced. So in Hollow Knight Silksong, you can discover a vast haunted kingdom, the sequel to the award-winning action-adventure Hollow Knight. Explore, fight, and survive as you ascend to the peak of a land ruled by silk and song. So really cool games. Hollow Knight is something that you should go try out if you have any interest. I think the art style is cool. The combat is really fun. I'm just a little bit scared off by the exploratory kind of Metroidvania style of it, but I'm growing to like it over the course of the game, and the base combat and the base art style and the music and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff is S tier. and really getting me to continue on with it and have a lot of fun with it. So, and you can play it on Switch 1, you can play it on Switch 2. They run fabulous. It's multi-platform everywhere. I think anywhere you can play Hollow Knight, I would say pick it up. I think it's normally $14.99. So just go check that out if you never have. Something I've been getting more into as time goes on. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about, that is actually a piece of hardware that was announced. And this is a fight stick from PlayStation. A Flex Strike wireless fight stick has been announced. So this is the first wireless fight stick built by PlayStation to deliver exceptional quality and an unparalleled gaming experience with premium parts and seamless customization. Step up and join the fight with ultra-low latency, wireless and wired connection, a built-in rechargeable battery, an included sling carry case, and a solid, comfortable design that's built for battle. Features a high-quality, custom-designed digital stick, buttons with mechanical switches, toolless, interchangeable restrictor gates, square, circle, and octagon, and a durable ergonomic design to ensure you stay in the fight. Store your restrictor gates in the PlayStation Link wireless adapter right inside the device for convenience and portability. Right now you can register for updates on this, but no pricing or release date has been shown. So I think this is cool and interesting. I'm someone who's bought a couple fight sticks in the past. They've all been wired, and the other option is fighting sticks they take up a lot of space. I used to have two. I ended up trading one in. I tried to trade the other one in, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people like to take in fight sticks for trade-ins. But I think this one's cool. I think it's cool that it's wireless. I'm a little weary of it being wireless. It says it has a PlayStation Link adapter, which I guess is trying to help the signal there, but I would have a little bit of concerns of it being wireless. And then also, I think I've played more fighting games using a controller than a fight stick. And I've had the fight sticks. For Street Fighter 4 is the fighting game I played the most of over the course of my life. And I played that all on an Xbox 360 controller, or for the most part. I even tried other things in that. I bought some game pads and things like that. I don't know if I would have bought a fight stick during those times if I would have enjoyed it. I think it was just kind of out of my price range at that point, or maybe I guess that was why I never really got one, because I was definitely interested in them. And then once I got one, I played a lot of Mortal Kombat, which was the Mortal Kombat, I don't know if it was X. I guess Mortal Kombat 11. That's one of the other fighting games I played a ton of, and that's the one I played mostly on the fight stick and really enjoyed it. But that's kind of been my last experience with the fight stick, and I own one right now for Xbox Series X, and that's the only fight stick I have, and I don't even have a Series X anymore. But I think fight sticks are extremely cool. Something I maybe like a little bit more in theory than actually application of using them, but I could see myself, I kind of always, not always, but I sometimes go through having a fighting game resurgence, and I think I could get hooked on a fighting game at some point again in the future for sure, and see myself going down a fight stick rabbit hole again, one day. But PlayStation has announced this new Flex Strike wireless fight stick, and I think it's pretty cool. Right, so that's everything I have for you this week in the midsection of the show. So that's all the video game news and information I wanted to bring to the table this week. So we talked about the Nintendo Switch pricing update, so boo there. We talked about the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, including games like Persona 3 Reload, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, Once Upon a Katamari, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, Pac-Man World 2 Re-Pac, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales, Octopath Traveler 0. Then we also talked about Mario Paint, Dragon Drive, Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Starcross World Upgrade Pack, the Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, Elden Ring, Nightreign, Hollow Knight, Silksong, and the Flex Strike Wireless Fight Stick. So those are all the video game thoughts I have for you this week, or all the video game news I have for you. And as always, the midsection keeps you up to date with everything you need to know, so you don't want to miss it. So that's going to wrap up the midsection of the show. We still have one final section, the miscellaneous talk section, so a little bit of a break from video games. It's usually pretty short and sweet. You get to hear about my sports fandom and some of the struggles there. I have a lot of those most of the time. So if you want to, feel some pity or, laugh at me, I think the third section is always good for that. So come back after this music for the miscellaneous talk section after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 140. This is the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. And my favorite NFL team, the season is getting pretty close. So the Carolina Panthers, the regular season, or the preseason actually begins in this upcoming week. But this past weekend, the Panthers had their Fan Fest, which was yesterday, August 2nd, at Bank of America Stadium. People were saying Bryce Young was looking good out there. I think the defense was playing well. So camp has started, and I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see what the team can do. I definitely have. I definitely can't be too excited because the Panthers have a good track record now of not producing. But I think a lot of the things from the offseason have been exciting. But I've been down this road before of being excited and then being disappointed. So I want to see what they can do. I think the benefit here is they did show some positive signs at the end of last season, so they should be carrying that into this new season. And the roster definitely seems improved. So I would hope that they are better. That would be my only thing I could really put some hope on, but how good they can be, I don't know. But I'm excited to see how it goes. The preseason begins August 8th, this Friday, upcoming Friday versus Cleveland. And then the regular season begins on September 7th, 2025 at Jacksonville at 1 p.m. So just over a month away for the beginning of the regular season for the Carolina Panthers, and I'm excited. I have a friendly wager with friend of the show, Stoop Woot, and I need the Panthers to, I think it is B500, or might be over 500, I think is the bet. We'll have to double check it, but pretty tough task there, but we will see. It'll be pretty glorious if they can get there, and I'm excited to watch. I'm excited for football to start in general. I really enjoy fantasy football. I enjoy watching the other teams and all the options of days to watch some football. And I'm even a little bit excited for college football this year. I think I'm just having a little bit of football mania with the start of the season approaching. So go Panthers, getting excited for the season and excited to see some preseason stuff at the end of this week, or at the end of this upcoming week. So for the NBA, nothing going on with the NBA. It's the offseason right now. I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident, and I'm an all-the-time, full-time fan of the Atlanta Hawks. Nothing to report there with those two teams. I just like to mention, just like to hold a place for them each week here in the sports section. And then my favorite team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves in Major League Baseball, have been just doing some Braves things out there. Sunday at the Rangers to end last week, the Braves lost 1-8, so it was a sweep. Friend of the show, Stu Boot, who I mentioned, was at those games with some other friends of the show, friends of real life. And it was all good for Mr. Stu Boot out there as a Rangers fan. It was a sweep, not really even close in most of the games, and just bad news out there in Texas. And then to start the week, the Braves were in Kansas City. The Braves won on Monday 10-7. The Braves lost 6-9 on Tuesday. That's the game that Ronald Acuna left injured. It ended up being more of a strain than actually a tear. People were saying it was his Achilles. I think it's more of a calf strain, so I think it's some weeks that he's going to be out. But just really bad news to see Ronald being hobbled. That's kind of one of my worst case scenarios for watching baseball, since he's my favorite player to play, and he's been injured a lot lately. So it's just been really hard on a baseball fan over here, seeing your favorite player get injured and having the team in the state that they're in. There's no reason to rush Ronald back, and there may not be even reason to bring him back at all this season. So that is just some harsh reality there for the Braves. And then to continue on with the week, Wednesday at Kansas City, the Braves lost 0-1 in extra innings. And Thursday at the Reds, the Braves won 12-11 in 10 innings. The Braves had a pretty good start to the game. The Royals clawed back, and then they had to go to extra innings to win. So just that was a pretty disheartening of a win, an insane way to get a win, and just really, really kind of bad news looking at it that was the result. They're having to work so hard out here to get these wins, and it's just really, really tough out for the Braves these days. Friday at the Reds, the Braves lost 2-3. They're playing out there at the Speedway, which is pretty cool, but just having the Ronald Acuna injury has definitely dampened some of my excitement here for the Braves at the moment. And then Saturday at the Reds, last night the game was suspended due to rain, and I'm not sure when that one's going to be rescheduled. And then strangely, there's no Braves game today. I guess that's just because they've been having that series, kind of unusual series out there at the start of the weekend, so they're giving them an off day today. And then next week, the Braves are having no off days. They're actually playing 8 baseball games in the span of 7 days next week. So to start the week, the Braves will have 3 versus the Brewers in Atlanta, and then 5 versus the Marlins in Atlanta. And there's a doubleheader on Saturday, I guess making something up from the Marlins from earlier in the year. And so we did have the MLB trade deadline in the past week. Nothing to report there with the Braves, unfortunately. No improvements, no deals that I can really be mad about. And kind of unusual. I kind of expected them to maybe trade away a few pieces. There was some talks of Ozuna getting traded, talks of Murphy getting traded, but I'm glad to see that those didn't actually transpire. I think they need, I don't know what they need completely for next season, but I don't think getting rid of some of your players that have been producing or that have actually been pretty good would help, and I don't think it would help at all, really. So kind of glad they didn't make any drastic moves, but just kind of a sad state of affairs for the Braves in general. But the other MLB trade deadline news really was Charlie Morton, just a player I'm a fan of, was traded from the Orioles to the Tigers, so he gets to go contend. I think he signed with the Orioles hoping to contend, but they've been pretty disappointing this year too, like the Braves. Or not as disappointing, I guess. But he's getting traded to the Tigers, who have been one of the best teams in baseball this year, so pretty exciting for Charlie Morton, who has an incredible curveball to watch. And then I just want to tip my hat to the Mariners making some upgrades. They also got Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman from the Diamondbacks. So they're taking all the good players from the Diamondbacks fire sale. Josh Naylor went over there, who's one of my favorite other first basemen in the league. And then a former Brave getting traded from the Nationals to the Cubs, Mike Soroka. Mike Soroka's been having a little bit of a resurgence this year, so that's been nice to see, as he was someone who had a great time with the Braves. It would seem like he was going to be a stalwart, I think that's the word, or a staple, or a pillar of their lineup for a long time, but then got a terrible injury going to field that ball and never really recovered from it, and they kind of gave up on him. But he's been out there balling again, so, shout out to you, Mike Soroka. And then another move from the trade deadline was Carlos Correa goes back from Houston, or goes back from the Twins to Houston. So I guess the Twins have a crazy salary cap, or their salary budget is insane, and they're doing terrible. So they're trying to sell off some of their big assets. And I think Correa had a no trade clause, but he was happy to accept going back to Houston, I guess, since they actually have a good team right now, and he has some familiarity there. So pretty good trade deadline. Pretty cool movement. I'm just going to have to be a fan of baseball in general to end the season, it seems like. And at least I do like baseball in general. But it's sad to see when your favorite team's not doing well. And it's sad to see when your favorite player is injured. So, just thoughts and prayers out there to you, Ronnie. And I don't know what I hope for you this year. I hope you get to come back and play, because I know that's what he likes to do. But don't come back and play in meaningless games. I don't think that's going to help the situation at all. So that's everything I have for you. We talked about the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and MLB news and the trade deadline in general. So that's going to wrap up this final section, the miscellaneous talk section, and it's going to wrap up the entire show. So just thank you for listening, as always. I want to reiterate some promotional talk in the beginning, because it does help me out. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live, or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So probably no streams this weekend, or maybe next weekend. I've been in the process of moving. I'm still going to be a North Carolina resident, so I'm still a halfway fan of the Hornets, but I have been moving. That's been taking up some of my time of cleaning out my stuff, organizing. It's just always more of a task than you can think. So hopefully I will be moved into my new place this week, but I will have a podcast out either way, because that's one of my favorite things to do. But maybe just a little bit of a pause on the streams until I get in my new place and settled, and through all the labor and hassle of moving. So that's what's kind of been going on with me. Be playing some video games this week, watching a lot of Braves games. We got 8 Braves games in the upcoming week, probably more Donkey Kong, probably more Mario Kart World, and maybe trying to find another RPG to start making some progress in, since I've completed a video game. I gotta say that again, just out there in the world, to prove all the haters out there wrong, that I complete video games every once in a while. So the haters are pretty much right, but one win for the good guys over here, and that's it. So that's everything I have for you for the show this week. Thank you so much for being a listener. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. I hope something great happens to you. I hope if things are going poor for you, I hope that changes pretty quickly. And just thank you for listening. And please come back next week for another episode, because that's where I'll be. And I will talk to you later. Goodbye.